morning, and we are back. Thanks for sticking around for hour number 2. And in this hour, we are joined by Dr. Trinette Moss of Total Family Wellness. And her practice works a little bit different than most of those practices out there. And I think you guys are very much going to enjoy chatting with her. So good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. I'm glad to have you here. And so let's chat a little bit about your practice, what you guys do, and how you're a little bit different.
Okay. Well, Total Family Wellness, we started it, actually it was our 6-year anniversary yesterday. And it's a little bit different because it's a membership practice. I get to work for my patients and closely with my patients.
There's a lot to be said for that and what you just said, because I think healthcare is kind of directing a lot of doctors to do things that they wouldn't normally choose, right, on their own for their patients.
Exactly. So we can kind of make that decision together, and it's our decision, so I really like that.
So you don't take insurance. You are literally a membership-based practice.
Correct. 100% membership-based.
So let's talk about that. What does it cost? What does it include? And you're considered like a direct primary care, right?
Okay. Correct. So with direct primary care, it's like I said, I work for my patients. They pay a monthly or annual, depending on what works best for them, fee, and their membership is what pays for their access. That's what, they can call me or text me or email me, or come in for a visit, obviously, and we kind of work through what their issues are, making sure that they stay as well as possible.
Got it. So what does the cost run? Like, is it a family plan or?
Yeah, so the membership is $100 a month per adult and $50 a month for kids. But the value is that, you have a little bit better access and being able to get in and talk to me or, do a phone visit, do a telemedicine visit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, if you're doing the telehealth stuff.
We're doing a lot of that, especially with coronavirus. So
definitely.
We've been able to continue to serve our patients no matter where they are or how they feel, either in their home or at work or in the office.
So this is a great option for people that don't have the opportunity to get insurance, right, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely.
And so you handle what, like basic stuff? What happens when it gets complex, right?
Sure. Well, actually, with the insurance piece, a lot of my patients actually do have insurance.
Okay.
But since deductibles are so high these days, a lot of times their membership still costs them less than what their deductible is.
That's crazy.
And we can still use their insurance for like incidental stuff. So with the complexity, honestly, as a family medicine doctor, we're trained to do a lot of things over the broad spectrum from pediatrics to geriatrics. So when it does get above what I can do for a patient, I'll just make sure to find them a specialist who will be able to take care of them and kind of punt it back to me so I can kind of manage the day-to-day things so they're not.
So can we talk about how like the direct primary practice differs a little bit from maybe like an average doctor's practice?
Sure. So one thing is the membership. So whether somebody needs to come and see me 2 times a year for one thing or another, or their physical, or if they need to see me 10 times because they've got a wound that we're addressing or something like that, it doesn't cost them anything different. So, for people who are on a budget, or if they just want to get things taken care of and they're not wanting to pay a high copay every single time they come back every, couple of days if it's a wound that we're taking care of.
Yeah, so you mentioned wound care. That's a great example. What if it is wound care and it's going to require 3 or 4 visits? Are you actually caring for the wound and bandaging it? And is that extra, or how does that work?
It's no extra.
Okay.
So, unless I have to order complicated supplies or actually deliver like medicine or an injection or something like that, that might be a small extra fee, but that's really it. There's no extra cost to it.
Wow, that's pretty incredible, isn't it?
I just, once we went to super high deductible systems, a practice like this makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So what about, how does a doctor in a practice like you partner with, say, specialists or prescriptions? What if somebody needs a regular prescription, that sort of stuff?
Okay, so with specialists, I've been actually practicing here in Pinellas since 2003. So I know and very good terms with a lot of specialists in the area. A lot of times I will just call and ask them, is this something that, the patient needs to see you for, or is this something I can take care of with some guidance from you? And we'll kind of work out. So if they have no insurance or if they have a high deductible, it's not going to hopefully cost them a lot out of pocket. So
do you see where people have like supplemental insurance for major stuff? Like what I'm thinking, what
Yes.
happens if someone has to go to the emergency room?
yeah,
Right? Or the
so yeah,
hospital?
if they have to go to the ER, the hospital, yes, I still recommend people have a supplemental or a catastrophic plan where
Is that like an Aflac or something?
it can be, or there's another term for like a catastrophic terminal illness plan where if you end up in the hospital in the ICU, it'll pay for specifically a lump sum of that problem. So there are plans out there like that. There's also the health sharing options that will pay for things like that too. So there's a lot of different ways that.
And you said you've done this for how long?
So 6 years since I opened my practice.
Now, did you work for another like traditional
Yes.
doctor's practice
Yeah,
before?
for 12 years before that.
Okay, so
Yes.
let's talk about that. Like, what made you want to say, I'm going to open my own practice? I don't like these traditional type practices.
I think for me, it was just time. It was something I'd always wanted to do. And when I finished residency, it just wasn't financially feasible for me to do it. So I decided, 2014, that it was just the right time to do it. I was working a lot of long hours for somebody else where at the end of the day, they own the practice. So I don't get anything out of it when I decide to retire, or, if my kids want to go into medicine or something like that, I can't inherit the practice to them. So I decided, now is the time. It was a good time for it. And it kind of worked from there.
Because there's a big need, I would think, for that type of practice. There's so many individuals that don't have insurance, or part of the problem is it's gotten so costly, and they maybe just need to see a doctor for a very basic thing. So, I mean, even if you go to a walk-in clinic, I imagine that's going to cost you $100.
Yeah, at least.
Just to walk in.
Yeah, just
for
to walk
basic
in.
stuff.
It's also very confusing.
What? The medicine or
No,
the insurance?
The insurance plans are just
Yeah.
so confusing
Yes.
nowadays. It's like my wife recently switched, and I still don't know what's covered and what's not covered.
Right.
Yeah, I think you literally like that's a whole gap of something that would also be available. I think for someone to like just dive in and understand how that works and how things are billed, because the layperson doesn't understand that stuff.
Right. And it's really confusing for, if you're not an insurance agent, if it's not something that all of the ins and outs of, nobody, unless you're reading all the fine print on your policy, there's no way to know exactly what's covered.
And let's face it, like even if you read all that, that's
Yeah.
a lot to digest and understand, and
And the plans can change from year to year. So, yeah, what was okay this year may not be okay next
So
year.
I'll use myself as an example, and Leo, if you have something you want to chime in or add or ask that would make sense, let's do that too. But like, for example, I get migraines, right? So I will take Toradol. I've had injections. I've literally gone to the walk-in clinic just to get an injection of Toradol to get rid of it. Would your plan include something like that, or is that extra, or how does that work?
So if you came in for just a visit, if you didn't need anything else, no, it wouldn't cost anything. If I need to give you a shot of Toradol, I think it might be like $30.
So it's super
So,
affordable. It
yeah.
doesn't sound like you're upcharging the medicine or anything like
Right.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I know literally, I think if you went to the walk-in clinic and you didn't have insurance and you were cash pay, it would be quite a bit more than that.
Yeah, you have the visit and then the injection and supplies and all of that. So it can rack up pretty quick.
I mean, these make sense. I mean, if I knew I was paying a membership fee for health insurance and for being able to ask a doctor questions, I would rather do that than having to put my health, like, well, I really want to go, but I don't know if I can afford this. And it's just, it doesn't matter how much money you have. If you don't spend it to keep yourself alive, you're just going to die and give your money to someone.
Well, I've got another question too that might be incredibly relevant. I know someone that, during this pandemic when all this stuff happened, I think it affected a lot of people in different ways, including some, mental health. I'm sure you've probably seen that.
Absolutely.
And so one of the things that I, and I know this person, she is not like anybody off the chain or anything like that, but she went to the doctor to get some antidepressants. Because of when it first started, I guess, just the way it affected that person. And literally, somehow that was reported back to the state. And she had people come to her to remove her concealed carry permit and take her weapons. And
Oh my gosh.
she basically wasn't a threat to anyone. It was very temporary. Wasn't even on it anymore. But that's like, I guess, Big Brother reporting, if you will, for lack of better words. I guess we'll we'll talk about this a little bit more when we come back after the break, because there's a lot of stuff to cover on this topic. But our off-air number, if you want to call or text, you got more questions for Trinette and how this works, 813-377-2775. Again, call or text us at our off-air number, 813-377-2775.
Well, good morning. Welcome back. This is Leo Kane with Barrel Engineering and Inspection, having a riveting hour with
Trinette Moss, Dr. Trinette Moss.
Dr. Moss, you have all my questions over there.
I do.
You've
Would you like
stolen
them?
all my questions.
So what do you think about, like, what I was saying right before the break? How someone literally was forced to give up their weapons, give up their concealed carry that actually needs it, being in a place by themselves. What do you think about that? Like,
Giving up.
no, like about the whole, like, how that somehow got reported back to the state.
The Big Brother aspect.
I mean, yeah, that's a difference between.
I've never actually heard of that ever happening.
Yeah, I haven't either
so-
until someone told me that, and I was like,
Yeah.
"That what?"
I think if they're Baker acted, like if they have to
Yeah,
be
no, it wasn't any of that.
held, then that's one thing. But I've never heard of that for just depression and
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't heard of that either for depression.
I thought it was pretty wild, but I don't make this stuff up. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. So I guess, well, I asked you this on the break, but it's a good thing to bring to the air. So you're not taking insurance at all?
Correct.
You're strictly like self-pay. And so an important part would be, you were saying, really, this is about relationships for you.
Yeah. So if I know somebody really well, what's going on in their life, how they've reacted to things, we kind of take a deep dive, especially in our first appointment. It's usually about an hour, talking about their history and all of that stuff. So if I can, know the person really well and have that good relationship, I think it's easier for me and for them to keep them in a wellness rather
Yes.
than an illness
So
relationship.
what all does it include exactly, and what doesn't it include?
So anytime they have to call me or see me in the office or anything like that, that is all included.
Okay.
Okay. If I have to administer a medicine, like, I need to give you an injection of antibiotics, I will charge them for the cost of the antibiotic.
Okay.
Trying to think of any. That's probably the only thing I could say.
Sounds
Like if I
pretty
have
simple.
to administer a medicine or something in the office, that's what we will charge somebody for.
Well, you were saying, too, that some of your people actually have insurance, but
Yeah.
they've got a relationship with you as the primary care. And then so they may need to get labs or something.
Right. So with, so that billing is done by the lab company itself. So I can just submit to the lab company with their insurance, we're getting this panel or whatever, and then their insurance can take care of that part. Although I've had the experience where their insurance cost for their labs is actually more expensive than what I charge them for their labs. So sometimes
wow.
we have that conversation after maybe the first or second time doing their labs. It's like, oh, I got a bill for.
So you
X
can do
dollars.
labs directly, too, or you have a relationship with,
Yeah.
I guess, someone that does? Wow.
Exactly.
That's pretty incredible.
So yeah, we
That,
try
that
and
would
figure
earn
out
membership. I want to see all these fringe benefits. And those are the benefits of membership.
exactly.
Definitely. And so I was asking about prescriptions earlier. Do you have
Mm-hmm.
a relationship where you can keep those costs down as well?
Yes. So a lot of times we will use like one of the discount medication apps, but there's also a lot of local mom and pop pharmacies
That are still super affordable,
that are
right?
still super affordable.
And it
so.
keeps those folks in business, which
Exactly.
is great.
But I've seen
Exactly.
horror stories about mom and pop, and I'm scared. As
Sure, like what?
putting those pills in my body, I've seen horror stories on some of these tabloid type news shows about mom and pop pharmacy shows and how they're mixing their chemicals in not safe environments, and it's cross
Do
contamination.
they mix the chemicals, or do they buy
Well,
them?
I think you're talking about a compounding pharmacy.
Yes, I am.
And that's a little bit different.
I was like,
so
that's, okay, yeah.
if somebody's on like a regular FDA approved prescription medicine, they can dispense those at the mom and pop pharmacies just like they do at Walgreens or CVS or Rite Aid or whatever. So yes, some of the mom and pops do compounding, but they have to now have a special certification for sterile compounding that's different than even I think like 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay.
So
Well, that's good.
I'm just, as the average consumer of medicine, I'm just voicing the tabloid concerns that need to be debunked here on the air.
I can see you like crushing the pill and figuring out what's in
Excedrin.
there.
Wasn't there an issue specifically with Excedrin where there was a mix
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I think that they actually, because I have migraines, and so they
That's what I
actually
was
took
saying
it off of the market for a period of time.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I was like going every single place to find Excedrin migraine, and they didn't have
It
it.
doesn't work for me, sister. Not at all.
I honestly, I was really upset when they didn't have it anymore, and it had something to do with what you were referring to.
So you do other things too, right? Like weight management and stuff like that?
Yeah. So with weight management, that's a big, broad term. That can be everything from coaching and cheerleading. Like I tell my patients, like I'm here to be your.
Eat less. Eat less.
It's not just about eating less.
Not
it's
just
about
eating less.
better.
Eat
Exactly.
better. Eat fruit. Eat
better.
veggies. Eat
Exactly.
fruit. Eat veggies.
Eat better. Move your body. Giving them kind of a plan to work from so that they can do that. Sometimes I'll use tools like Optavia is basically a system where we can use different fuelings that they pre-purchase. What the benefit of that, it just kind of narrows their focus. It's like, okay, this is what I'm doing for this period of time to lose this amount of weight. And then we can start, broadening their horizons.
So speaking of weight management, I have to ask this question. So my wife and I went to the Glacier Children's Museum, and they have exhibits from different vendors. And one of the exhibits was from Kellogg's.
Okay.
And it was an exhibit on and it was a bunch of foods and stuff, and you had to pick the one which has the most fat, which had the most calories, which has the most sugars. And it was like almost every other question, the culprit with the most bad things for you was the fruit salad.
The fruit salad.
The fruit
Okay.
salad. Now I figured it's Kellogg's.
Yeah.
They're trying to push grain cereal on you, but
Right.
but it was like, which has the highest sugar? Fruit salad. Which is going to make you feel the worst at the end of the day? The fruit salad. Which has the most? Which is the worst for the diet? The fruit salad. So it's like, is fruit salad really that bad for you?
Right. Oh, well, I guess it depends on who's making your fruit salad, right?
If Kellogg's is making it.
If
Or
Kellogg's is making it,
too much of
maybe.
anything is bad.
So for a lot of people, fruit salad also includes like they're putting extra sugar and Cool Whip and chocolate chips and all that other
Wait,
stuff.
people actually put sugar and stuff like that on fruit?
You're missing out. You are missing out if you don't know about this.
I don't know about that.
Yes.
So if your
But
fruit
seriously,
salad
Yes.
is
sugars are. But it's already.
It wouldn't be a
natural
salad
sugars.
without a salad dressing.
right,
And you
Yeah,
got to
but-
you got to put your crunchies on top.
right. So that's what makes fruit salad not so healthy for you. If you're cutting up strawberries and blueberries and apples and grapes and eating that, well, the fruit salad's probably not going to be the worst thing for you.
Yeah,
It was just hilarious. It was a running joke for us for weeks. It was like the worst thing in the market. Like, oh, fruit salad, can't have that. It's horrible for you. Yeah, I'll take the pizza.
Okay, I'm blown away by this. Yeah, I don't even
Go
know.
to the children's museum. You've got children.
I do.
You don't have to wait for adult days like I do.
I had this this joke yesterday with a client in a house. I asked him if he has pets, and he said, "No, I just have a daughter. Does she count?" And I'm like, "Wait, isn't she young?" And he goes, "Yeah, she's 4." I go, "No, she's not a pet yet. I have teenagers. Those are the ones that are the pets." Morning joke. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a 5-year-old, so I have lots of feelings on whether I think my son's a pet per se. I just would like for him to listen. That'd be really nice.
Dogs have the mentality of what, a 6-year-old? So I guess they
There you
would
go.
be in pet form till about 7.
Yeah, and they're just flat out animals once they're teenagers.
Yeah,
How do you
pretty much.
manage that? You have teenagers.
That's a whole nother.
Yeah.
I had one my oldest is just now a teenager. She just turned 14.
Oh,
so.
you got the good years coming still. Just
Yeah.
wait. So I have my outline here. What about anesthetics?
Aesthetics.
Aesthetics,
So
okay.
aesthetics is basically
Anesthetics?
it's not
Glasses on.
anesthetics.
Shh, don't make fun of me. I don't have my glasses on. I don't want
It's
them
all
on.
right. So, kind of introduced us to the practice a couple of years ago. A patient was asking me about, could you just do my Botox and stuff like that? And I am just a perpetual student. I like to learn lots of things about lots of things. So when I started learning about it and started incorporating it into my practice, I found that I really liked it, and people kind of walk out with a lot more confidence and they feel good about themselves.
So you're doing Botox too?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's not included in the membership. That's
Does
separate.
it have any side effects or like? Because I've heard of people doing it for migraines. Even.
Sure, yeah. There's Botox for a lot of medical conditions. So for migraines, for dystonia, for children that have spasticity in their arms. Those are like the medical indications for Botox. For the beautification. So it basically softens the frown lines, improves some of the texture of the skin if you're doing it, a few times a year. And for most people, it's actually not as expensive as you would think. I mean, it depends on what your budget is, obviously, but
I've never gotten Botox. I probably should, but I've never gotten it.
it's a personal decision. I mean, I feel like you should have some character in your face. You shouldn't be frozen and, kind of look like a mannequin.
Well, like some of these politicians, they're like, 80, and like their face doesn't move. You
Right.
notice that?
Yeah, we don't need that. Well, in my opinion.
That's a little extreme, I
everybody's
think,
opinion
too.
is different, but yeah.
So you have also wrinkle relaxers and neurotoxin?
So that's the Botox.
That is
That's
it, okay.
the overarching category.
Do you
is
inject
different.
Botox into people too? Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah.
You missed that. Where have you been?
I'm
We're
right
just
here.
talking about this.
Still thinking about the fruit salad.
He's hungry.
I can't eat the fruit salad.
So have you had anything come up where people needed urgent care? And how do you deal with that exactly?
Okay, yes. So it really depends on what the issue is. Most of the time it's like, okay, can you be here at 3 o'clock and we'll take care of it? Or if it's something that could be taken care of over the phone, we do that too. A lot of traditional practices until coronavirus what was not doing a lot of phone consults or
Yes.
telemedicine consults.
It changed the way we do
It
life,
really
didn't
changed the way we do life. But I was already doing that, so for me it was like, okay,
Embrace,
that's like,
yeah.
business
Same
as
here.
usual.
We refined some stuff, but it was great. So, all right, when we come back in a minute, we're going to ask you some more things, including location, if you have any other people in your practice that can help. What happens if you're out? Do you do home visits? Quite a few questions like that. So This is Tampa Home Talk. Stick around. If you want to hear the answers to these, don't change the dial. We'll be back right after this break. This is now the tequila show.
Well, we need to talk about this. As an avid, during the break we often have these great conversations, and we were just chatting about tequilas because Pat, our producer, was acting a little loopy like he'd already been to Vallarta's, and then that's when the subject of 813 tequila came up.
It is Friday.
Oh, yeah.
So
TGIF.
do they have a local distillery you can visit?
They don't, but they have an opportunity where we could set up a tasting for your tasting pleasures. And
Pat George would be like, I'm in.
I'm in. I want some of this stuff.
it's fantastic.
I collect tequilas and drink them as avidly as I collect them, so I need my hands on local tequila.
Well, we got to support our local 813 tequila.
Yeah, I mean, they have a Blanco. They also have a Blanco 100, which is a double distilled 100 proof, so it's going to be stronger, so that's going to be your mixing tequila. And I haven't quite gotten to read up on their Repo or their Anejo, but I definitely want to know where to buy this locally.
All right, Dr. Trinette, I have a question.
I'm going to text tequila to 813-377-2775. I am going to text tequila to 813-377-2775 to know where to find this stuff.
I'm asking for a friend. How do you flush a tequila out of your body? Legit, I'm asking for a friend.
How do you feel the
Drink
best the
lots
next
of water.
morning?
Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't drink a lot. And when I do drink a lot, the next day my body's like, yeah, you drank a lot.
Yeah.
So everything's trying to flush out, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
I think age has a lot to do with it. I would assume
Age does
too.
have a lot to do with it. Yes, absolutely. And genetics too. Some people just really can't drink a lot before they feel awful.
Yeah. So we were talking earlier, what happens if you have an emergency, that sort of stuff, and you shared a pretty cool little sort of story.
Yeah. Yeah, so it depends on the emergency. So some things are definitely go to the ER, go to the hospital. But the one we were talking about, one of my patients had cut her hand. It was, she was making dinner, cut her hand open on an apple slicer, actually. And so I was just like, okay, well, meet me at the office and we'll stitch you up.
That's not exactly a telehealth appointment. No.
Exactly. I can't do that.
Here,
with
I'll tell you to
telehealth.
hold the needle.
Right.
So where are you located? You're in Pinellas.
Yes, in Pinellas, in Clearwater.
Okay.
On Belcher and Sunset Point.
And do you have any other locations?
That's the only location so far.
Okay. And do you have any other doctors or nurse practitioners that work with you?
Nope, it's just me, and I have a medical assistant and a nurse.
Wow. So so what happens when you get too busy to serve your people? You're going to have to bring a nurse practitioner.
We might.
Somebody
We might.
on, right?
I have to add another doctor or something.
I don't think enough people know about this.
Yeah,
Really?
I mean, it's really something that it's not new. I mean, some doctors have been doing this for 12, 15 years already, but it's something that
not
a lot of
widely
people
talked
don't
about.
know about.
Yeah,
Exactly, it's
widely
not
talked about.
widely talked about.
So how does this differ from like alternative medicine?
So most people with alternative medicine, it's like we're working together with acupuncturists or chiropractors or basically complementary medicine is like what I like to call it, because it can, for some things I will refer to a chiropractor or an acupuncturist or something like that if I feel like that's the best treatment option for them.
So do you get a vacation ever? Like, do you get to leave?
Not really, no. And that's the hard
You don't
part.
have a doctor that even fills in? You don't
I do have a doctor
Okay.
who will, like, if I'm out of town and somebody calls in, it's like, oh, I think, I've got an earache and need somebody to look at my ear. I have a couple other doctors in the community who will see a patient on a, case-by-case basis for me. So that's handled if there's something really urgent.
I mean,
like
they
that.
have Uber and like all this stuff. They should have like, a nurse practitioner you can hire for a week. Like, I'm just saying, like, why
There is. It's just expensive.
You laugh at me, but,
that's-
like, it's
no,
not-
there is. There actually
If you
are.
want a vacation, that's what you
Yeah,
gotta
that's
do.
what I'd have to do. Actually, that's how I started my career. I was doing, for a couple years, locum tenens is what it's called. It's basically temp work for doctors, and,
See,
you
it
can do
does
that
exist.
anywhere.
I
It
don't
does
even know anything
exist.
about your world.
Yeah, it does exist.
What other questions do you have for Trinette?
I'm trying to find some tequila to buy, so I'm easily distracted by.
Thanks for getting in
I'm
distracted,
so sorry.
Ashley.
Tequila is
You'll
fine.
thank me later. You'll
I-
find me and be like, thank you for introducing me.
Let's
to
see.
that.
Or we could, it's January. People are making New Year's resolutions about being healthier and stuff
Yes.
like that. So, for that, we will like kind of encourage our patients to come in and talk about what their goals are, because everybody has a different endpoint. Everybody's not going to be the exact same or have the same goal. So, we kind of tailor it to, okay, what do you want to do this year? Where do you want your health to be?
Right.
And a lot of times that can be weight. So, we'll have a lot of different tools to use for patients who want to lose weight. And, like I said, that could be anything from just giving them a plan and like, here, go do it. Let me know if you have any problems.
I know you were talking about labs. So what does that run roughly? Like if you're getting like an annual lab?
Sure.
check?
So it depends. So, usually as you get older, we might have to check a few more things. I would say on average, it's between $40 and $50.
Got it. That's not, wow.
Yep.
I'm like blown away by that answer.
Yeah.
I think the deductible is more than that.
It
if you go to the other
is a
places.
lot of times. So if we need
is
to
worth
do
checking
anything
out.
like fancy, a big hormone panel workout up or allergy panel workup, those are more expensive. Those can be a couple $100s a piece. But, for your basic stuff where you need to know, okay, where am I? Are there any major things coming at me? Yeah.
So I know we mentioned what happens if you're away, but have we talked about what happens if like somebody else is away and something happens? Is there any type of like shared network of direct primary care physicians?
Indirectly. So I have colleagues all over the country. So if there is somebody who's like, say they're in Las Vegas and something happens, or, if there's something that I can't take care of from here. So honestly, it's like if somebody loses their blood pressure pills, I can call it in at a pharmacy in Las Vegas, so that's not a big deal. But yeah, if there's something where I'm like, I really think you need to be seen, we do kind of have an informal network of direct primary care docs who will be like, okay, we'll do you a favor and see your guy for you, or do it for like a minimal cost or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
This has been an exciting topic, I think. I was excited to have you on when Dr. Brett was telling me about you. I was
Yeah.
like, because it's like a new world.
yeah, it's different. A lot of people don't know about it, and
makes
it's kind
sense.
of like, one of those best kept secrets that can be definitely affordable and get you a better leg up on your health.
As healthcare gets more and more rogue, I see this becoming more and more of an opportunity in the marketplace where more and more doctors will come up.
Absolutely. It's happening.
And I just love the convenience of the teledoc. I know you've been doing it well before the big box
Me too.
providers did it. I mean, I got it, like when my health insurance renewed this year, they gave me a card just for teledoc. So I have my prescription card, I have my primary card, I have my dental card, my vision card, now I have my teledoc card.
Right.
So now I have to have a separate wallet just to carry all my medical cards.
Right.
And then they all say, if you leave the U.S., which I do on a regular basis, none of this is useful.
Right, yeah.
Do you cover international?
Well, I mean, if somebody calls me and they're like, hey, I'm in Aruba, what can you do?
It would be Belize.
Yeah,
Belize, but yeah.
Belize, yeah. So,
Got any connections there? If not, you might need to get some.
Maybe I'll need to get some connections. In
But
Belize,
that actually is a good point. I mean, if you can offer this teledocking when someone's traveling internationally, that's a unique selling proposition that you have over your competition, because the insurance cards just say if you're outside of the U.S., you're basically you insert word here, then it'll have to be dump buttoned.
Yeah, I have a few patients that regularly go overseas, and they may be away for a month or 2 or 3. And, if something happens, I'm the first person they text to say, okay, this is what's going on. And,
I love that you text. That's like good bedside manner coming back, I think. Like,
it is. It's
like 21st century bedside manner.
It is. Yeah.
Like your doctor. Do you text your doctor?
My doctor texts, how would you rate our performance? Please reply stop getting these announcements.
That's not your doctor.
Are you coming into the appointment tomorrow? I'm like, yes. Are you coming into the appointment tomorrow? I'm like, yes.
No.
Right,
exactly. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about actually, I have a question about this that just happened, and we can direct them the right way.
So we also have joined us for the last part of the show, Miss Ashley Titus, and then Josh Hyman has joined us remotely.
Yes.
I think, right? If we didn't run him off, he should still be on the phone.
We are still here, and I'm excited to expand on what Trinette's been talking about.
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
So they're with K2 Advisors. You guys jump in, tell the listener what you do. Let's remind them in case it's their first time listening to you, and let's expand on what we're talking about with Dr. Trinette.
Since you're so excited, Josh, I'll let you go.
Yeah, perfect. The K2 Advisors Group, we're consultants for companies on their employer-sponsored health plans, and so our job is to come in and create solutions for problems, which is health insurance right now. So unfortunately, the healthcare system and health insurance in general, everybody says it's broken, but it's really not. It is working exactly how the people designed it to work so they can make the most money, which is why direct primary cares are such a up-and-coming thing, because doctors are getting tired of having to deal with insurance. So it's a whole lot easier to ask patients to pay a monthly fee, to have access anytime they want to the doctor and have a great personal experience.
Yeah.
Right? And so
the doctor they actually have a relationship with.
Right.
Exactly. Yep. So we actually just experienced this. So I'm part of a direct primary care membership in South Carolina with my family. And it was my wife's first experience. She had lost her sense of taste. So obviously COVID was the first thing she was thinking about. She called the doctor's office within 2 hours. They're like, hey, yeah, just come by whenever it's convenient for you. We'll have somebody in the back. Just let us know you're on the way. She was one of 2 cars in the parking lot. Super personable, very easy. And usually when you get lab report results, you get a tele-nurse that's going to call you and say, hey, everything looked normal. The doctor doesn't need to talk to you, or something's wrong and the doctor doesn't need to talk to you. In this case, the doctor actually called her personally and said, hey, good news. You're COVID negative. No worries. Great seeing you. Hopefully we don't have to see you again for a while, right? So it's just a completely new shift in how primary care can be delivered. But the key here is when employer groups and companies realize they can offer this to their employee base, and usually when you partner with somebody like us who understands the benefits of what this does to your overall premiums and loss ratios with your claims, and just being able to control that aspect of your health insurance spend, you can actually do it at no cost or a reduced cost to what you're currently paying in health insurance for your employees anyway.
So can we tag on that? What if you're with a company and maybe it's a smaller company that can't even afford health insurance, right? We see this a lot, and they say, okay, I'm going to work out something with Dr. Trinette to where my people can come see her if they need her. Yep. I'm going to pay you as a corporation. And then would you guys be able to offer like that supplemental plan if someone had to go to the ER or something like that? Is that what you guys do?
Yep, we do that now. Yep, that's exactly what I'm doing for my family, because it makes more sense, right? It makes sense for me to go to a primary care as much as I possibly can. And then the few times that their scope of services don't cover it, I've got a supplemental package behind it that will cover my emergency
Bigger
or
ticket
accidents
items.
or-
Absolutely.
Bigger
That's what
issues,
I
yeah,
recommend my
exactly.
patients do because it's usually a lot more affordable that way.
All right, can we talk about that and
Yeah.
break down some rough costs? I know it's different from one party to the next, but I'd love to give the listener an example of what this looks like. And I know you guys are dying to get connected with our people in the studio today. So that off-air number is 813-377-2775. Again, 813-377-2775. If we missed any questions, let us know. You can also text them to that same number, and we will ask them and have them answered on the air directly. 813-377-2775. We'll be back in just a moment. This is Tampa Home Talk.
Are you looking?
Well, good morning. Welcome back. Leo Kane here, Barrel Engineering and Inspection. We have a whole host of people in the studio and on the phones. Josh still with us?
We are.
He's here.
He refers to himself in the plural. I like that.
Yeah.
We are. I do the same thing. Or actually, we do the same
Well,
thing.
we-
Depending on the day of the week, what personality you get. So let's try it.
Or you have some of those rogue friends and you rename their alter ego personality once they're impaired. Yeah, that's you.
I like this
you go.
question off our
When
sheet
I
here.
drink too much 813 tequila. Right? Somebody else that comes out.
I'm in the process of obtaining some.
Leo, who's your alter ego? Like when you're drinking and that guy comes out, is it?
There is no alter
doesn't
ego.
have a
This
name?
is
This
me.
is him.
This is just me.
I'm going to get with your wife. We're going to rename him. Everybody.
Everybody has to have a nickname.
Yeah.
I have nicknames, but I don't have an
Yeah, the
alter
one
ego
that-
when it comes to
The one
drinking.
that comes out when you're a different person once you're impaired. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I don't. I just get mellow.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's always really excited.
I'm going to ask this question. Is the healthcare system broken?
I think, just like Josh said, that it's designed to work exactly how it's working right now. And there's so many people in the system that aren't getting what they need because they don't realize that just because they have health insurance doesn't mean they have health care, So you can have insurance, but if you don't
Oof,
have...
That's a good one.
Yeah, if you don't have, a doctor who's taking care of you, that you have a good relationship with, that you're willing to go and say, hey, doc, this is what's going on and how can we make it better? Honestly, you don't have health care. You just have a premium you're paying every month.
And I think, unfortunately, people typically in our industry have made it where people are used to a certain expectation,
Right.
which is not the expectation of what they should
Yeah.
be having, and that this is all we have. This is, this increase that we're continuing to have year after year. That no other line item that you have in your business is having these types of increases.
Right.
But we somehow have manipulated the situation into thinking that everybody thinks that this is okay, and it's not, and it's not sustainable, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
I think so too.
So I have a question as an employer. Would it be cheaper for me to pay for my individual employees' individual health policies, or is it cheaper to have a corporate policy? Because I feel like the corporate policy is just like paying for premiums at this point.
In my opinion, I think that if you have somebody that knows how to manage your company and your healthcare, then I would say it's advantageous for you as an employer to offer that. If you have somebody that's just going to be showing up, showing you all of the, as we call it, the bucas, the Florida Blues, the Uniteds, the bucas of the world, those are going to that's going to be something that is just going to not be manageable over time. So, in my opinion, if you work with somebody that is competent in how to manage your healthcare spend, then I don't think that it would be an issue for you and your employers, or for your employees, I should say.
Well, we were talking on the break, and I don't know if it's you or Josh need to take this, but if we were talking about, like, if you wanted to offer your people, like, this supplemental insurance, then maybe, like, a corporate, hey, if you need to see Dr. Trinette, you can pop on a Zoom or go see her or whatever. And there's, like, this, catastrophic or emergency.
Because I'll tell you that I just did this, right? So I'm looking at the pros and cons of each one and the cost for my family, right? So I've got myself, my wife, and 2 young kids under 3. And so a family of 4, if I'm on an individual plan, to your point, Leo, my cost is, for a decent plan, almost $2,000 a month.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, it's gotten expensive.
That's family coverage.
In South Carolina. Yeah, and that's family coverage in South Carolina for 4 people.
And it still has deductibles, right?
Oh,
Not
Oh,
covered
yeah.
up
It's
stuff.
not like it's something sexy.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
There's
Yeah,
still
it's
high
not sexy.
deductibles.
So, Exactly. So on the flip side, I'm doing a membership for direct primary care, and then I've got supplemental coverage behind it for anything cancers, heart attacks. Again, I'm fairly young and healthy, so hopefully that's not going to take place. But the cost is 25%. I'm paying less than $500 a month for my entire family to have high quality care, same day appointments, ability to text my doctor. I can get my prescriptions at my doctor's office at no charge. If I have to have, let's say I have a sinus infection and need a Z-Pack, right? I'm going to get that at no cost. I don't even have to go to CVS or Walgreens to get that filled. So
That's what the direct primary care?
Right, yeah. So I've got access to everything that I would need care-wise, plus the catastrophic coverage for a quarter of the price.
So that supplemental insurance is what? We were talking about 2,000, so it's $500 for a family of how many?
Four.
A family of four, it's $313.
Wow.
The direct primary care membership is $130, so I'm all in $450.
Wow.
Versus $2,000.
That's
and I've
crazy.
Got better coverage, and I've got better coverage than if I did an individual plan.
And relationships than you would have.
Right, exactly. And so that's the creative way when you partner with somebody on your company plan that understands why the healthcare system, and again, it's not broken, it's just working for
the people that designed it.
For-profit facilities
Yeah.
and carriers, right? You look over the past 10 years since the Affordable Care Act was passed, and every single BUCA that Ashley mentioned, just look at their stock prices. It's ridiculous how much they've grown compared to every other industry. And it's because when you tie premiums to claims and you have a fixed percentage, those carriers can only make 85% of their dollars that they bring in have to go to claims. 15% can be admin and profit. Well, what point is it to control claims costs if it's the only way I can raise my premiums or if claims go up? So it's a complete disincentive for a carrier to actually try to control costs, because then I can charge more premium, which is how I make more profit.
Isn't that interesting?
So how does like the HR, the CFOs, the COOs, like what's their roles in the whole healthcare business arena?
Make money.
Yeah, I'd say CFO is looking at their bottom line every year going up 10 to 12%.
But that's not who's typically managing it.
Yeah, they're not managing.
But typically, human resources managing, who doesn't look at the P&L, doesn't look at the bottom line year over year, who their main job in the description is take care of the humans that are working at our company, right? And so the problem is over the past 10, 15 years, people in our industry have continued to just show up with the same stuff. They quote it with 4 or 5 carriers and say, oh, you're with the best one right now. Let's just keep what we're doing, because change is a 4-letter word.
Right.
But when you start peeling back the layers of all the moving pieces that are in place and you say, hey, we can get your people high quality care at a doctor that they're going to have direct access with. We can get their medications at no cost. We can steer them to high quality, low cost facilities, which I'm sure all of the DPC partners know who's the best doctors in town and who cost the lowest amount. And
Josh,
it's a win-win.
we are already out of time, and I know people are going to want to connect with you guys. This is a hot topic right now for everybody.
813-377-2775.
That's it. Yep.
813-377-2775. You can text defect,
Whatever
tequila, health insurance.
Let us know what you want.
Let us know. We'll make it happen. We'll be your black market dealer.
Love where you live, or we'll fix it. We're out this week.
Love where you live, or my